Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Seeing what we got here. How my screen looks and all that. I'm multicasting, so bear with me. We're going to cover some UFO stuff in a minute. If I can get this set up the way I want it. Just shitting things up here. Testing. Okay, mic on YouTube is working. We already know TikTok's working. So basically, what I'm going to do is stream on TikTok because I like the filters. They just make me feel comfortable. I like feeling glitchy and weird. And it helps with my social anxiety. So I might be this one day, and another day I might not be. I might be a glam babe or an alien or a bear. I like the things that are going on in the woods with the bears and the talks with women if they would choose a man or a bear. It's tragically entertaining and enlightening. Okay. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Seeing what we got here. How my screen looks and all that. I'm multicasting, so bear with me. We're going to cover some UFO stuff in a minute. If I can get this set up the way I want it. Just shitting things up here. Testing. Okay, mic on YouTube is working. We already know TikTok's working. So basically, what I'm going to do is stream on TikTok because I like the filters. They just make me feel comfortable. I like feeling glitchy and weird. And it helps with my social anxiety. So I might be this one day, and another day I might not be. I might be a glam babe or an alien or a bear. I like the things that are going on in the woods with the bears and the talks with women if they would choose a man or a bear. It's tragically entertaining and enlightening. Okay. That has disappeared. I'm missing some layers. Go there. Then. Okay. So today, my children, I'm going to stream on TikTok, and so there's not a weird vocal latency because there was some weird stuff, technically multicasting with YouTube and TikTok. It was not working the way I wanted it to work. How's that? Like, I want to use the camera, but I don't want all the camera shit. This is the best I can do right now. I'm not going to fight it. So, On YouTube, I will show you the screen. You're just seeing me read. Um, but in at 10 o'clock, I'm going to do a restream that has the actual content that I'm reading that you can follow along. And I'll be in the chat answering questions. And then after I do the restream, I'm going to be available on YouTube to answer questions. So I've been teaching about consciousness for how many years now? It's been a growing practice for the past 10 years. And I have channeling experience. I work with the other side of existence. There's the physical realm and the spiritual realm. So I was inspired for my first true class lesson discussion. I don't know what I want to call it. This is new for me. I've never really exposed my inner self with my outer self in a reality like this before. So this is all new for me. Um, Being a spiritual teacher who is broadening her horizons, basically, to put it nicely. I'm a major wise ass. So, anyway, to cut to the chase, Catman or Cat Dad on TikTok, Cat Dad, he did a series on this. And I was listening to him read this, and I could not believe how similar the EBE, which is, I'll get into it, it's like a biological entity, basically, you know, they call EBEs. So, um, I couldn't believe how closely the EBE matched my contact that I channel. And the contact that I channel doesn't really have a name. And it's funny because in this channeled this is from like a CIA locked vault kind of thing from Roswell, and I'm going to read it. It's just, oh my God, how it relates to my experience on a spiritual level. How this story relates my whole spiritual journey. So this channel, my YouTube channel, WTF Sky, it started, I think, in like 2015 is when I really started going balls to the wall with WTF Sky. And it was because I had an entity, a male masculine entity that was everything and nothing at once. This entity was my brother, my father, my mother. It was everything, this entity. When I was approached by this entity, it was a like what the fuck experience. That's why my YouTube channel is called What the Fuck Sky. It was actually Where's the Faith Sky. It started because it was such a heavenly divine experience. I couldn't believe that that something supernatural happened to me. So basically, I heard a man's voice. His presence I felt in my body as a Kundalini awakening, and his presence was felt as euphoric love, like an undeniable presence of divine, of divinity. And he said, I'm coming. So, what does that mean to someone who's just basically practicing mindfulness and meditation? when your brain goes from this restful, peaceful state to utter euphoria to a man's voice saying, I'm coming. Where do you go with that? Without people looking at you like you are the insane person. It sent me on a wild goose chase because I was like, what was that? What was that utter euphoria? What was that utter love I felt? Like, and it's like knowing Kundalini awakening, like knowing the Kundalini is emotional waters. Like when they say walk on water, Jesus walked on water, he regulated his emotions, his sensory emotions. Emotions are like water. You throw a pebble, someone throws a pebble at you, it hurts. You know, it leaves ripples. You ride the waves of duality. And when you find that calm bliss from within, you're in the singularity. So there's different realms of existence within realms of existence. Having these mystical experiences gives you a depth of perception you would not have otherwise. And on this many years of awakening, I discovered that I had a soul contract with my divine counterpart, which is nameless and just held in a non local spiritual type of mass. Everybody has like a divine counterpart on the other side of the veil. It's like a counterweight. It's like your mirrored reflection. It's like your other half. It's part of you is spiritual, part of you is physical. So there's always an oversoul that knows you inside and out. So my oversoul essentially said, "Hey, you little one in duality, you little spark of me, source consciousness, I'm coming." And I had to discern that from all spectrums of religion. It's weird. It's weird how this filter is changing my face to be washed out too. As I talk, I'm like one of those glowing Buddhas. Ugh. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can change it. Do a little freckles. Would that be good for now? No, I don't know. I really like this glitchy filter, so I'm going to stick with it. So, in the past few years, I've been initiated with other supernatural states of mind that are very childlike and innocent, but on the outside can make you look feral or, have the hospital call you, hey, you're in psychosis. And that's not a good look. This is a problem people have on the spiritual journey, and I didn't have people who went through it to really guide me. So it's 2015, it's going to be 2000, it's been a decade roughly. And I've been through it, and I'm at a place where I've found my center and I can help people. And I realized that the only thing left on my spiritual path is to help the other people who are on the path. Because there's a specific bloodline genetically that I'm connected to that definitely has the trauma down the bloodline for me not to forget my spirit identity, like my I am presence. I am what I am. You may call me Mari, but to define me, to to define the ineffable, to define the ineffable is sort of a joke. How do you define your personality? How do you define yourself by only a name? By your actions. That doesn't give you clarity in the end, your actions, because you could be the greatest person and be calm and just not recognized that your calm is the peace and tranquility that the world needs. So the spiritual path is a walk of being seen and unseen, being loved and being not loved. And it's identifying the depth of perception of duality. I'm talking to him. Let me read this. I'm going into just crazy shit. And I've been talking for what? 13 minutes. 13. That's a bad number. Ugh. You know, all these astrologers, I'm probably going to make mad because my perception of time is irrelevant to astrology. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But the spiritual journey, your astrology will sculpt your identity to a certain point, but once you realize that time and how it's perceived as absolute bullshit, you'll realize that the bones of astrology based on time and patterns can also be very subjective, malleable, and bendable, because the only real moment you have is the now moment, is right now. So it doesn't matter what the astrology says today. What I do today with intent doesn't, that is what will impact my next day. The vibration I put out, I'm going to be riding the next day. Time and where the planets are up my ass in Uranus, it doesn't matter. I'm so sorry. So sorry, astrologers out there, especially all you ones, running the hedge funds and stuff. This is probably going to be a tough awakening for you guys, too. See, and this is where the fun part is for you astrologers on the ground, like looking at the 1%. Like, this is like their matrix is going away. So the astrology is their matrix, just so you know. Hate to be the deliverer of bad news, but here we go. I'm going to start reading where I get myself in more shit. Okay. And I'm going to put this on WTF Sky. And then, I'm going to read this. And then we're going to replay it. You guys can sit here and listen to me talk about blah, blah, blah. Okay, so on March 25th, 1948, at approximately 1619, that's 4:19 hours, Mountain Standard Time, a disc-shaped flying machine came down about 12 miles northeast of the small community of Aztec, New Mexico. Let me get this so I can get my whole, let's read this together. Just going on a little adventure into Mari's mind and just how it ties into Roswell and aliens and all the good stuff. Who wouldn't like that? All right. The controlled landing occurred in a small desert canyon on the private grazing land of a local farmer and rancher. The disc craft was recovered, and the LZ, the landing zone, declared secured by 2245 LT. Their actions of an IPU, the Interplanetary Phenomena Unit, scout team, sent the Hart Canyon area. Let's go to the actual interview. I'm getting bored here. I don't want to bore everybody. I already bored myself. There's the listing of stuff. You got Robert J. Oppenheimer. He's a big name that everybody's been talking about with his big old movie and the history of all the things in physics that could be used for good but got turned for bad and all the blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all know that. Okay, I want to get to the EBE. So I'm going to put a link to this PDF so people can read the parts that I'm skipping through. So I'm going to go through the condensed conversations with the extraterrestrial biological entity. And this was from April 1948 to March 1949. The following conversations were held over an 11-month interval between various interrogators labeled here as INT and the Aztec EBT. These are reduced from many hours of recorded debriefing and are included here to give the reader a degree of insight into character and personality of the subject. The subject is classified as an extraterrestrial biological entity. Okay, and you're going to hear the ignorance of our military in the 1948. Obviously, we have learned a lot since then, and it gives you foresight. Hindsight gives you foresight because of pattern recognitions. And if you know your history, you understand the cycles. If you understand the cycles, you see how shit repeats itself. So to me, in studying the grand solar minimum for a decade, studying esoteric wisdom for my whole life, and studying human sociology, human psyche, it's like, it's exciting to me, and it's very also alarming to me why we didn't do more with it when we did. And it's like divine timing. Everything must be in divine timing. So obviously, if it didn't happen yet, the world peace, oneness, service to one another to build a community that is harmonic, you know. So, all right. So the INT is the military, and then the EBE is my hero from outer space. Okay, so that's where we're gonna go. So my hero from outer space sounds exactly the same as this entity. And it's because everything spawns from source consciousness, and the spirit realm is oneness, it's wholeness. You literally like are going to, it's like going to a country where everybody knows your name. It's like cheers. Cheers. You know? Everybody knows you're good or you're bad. We know that you're dark. We know that you're light. We know all your lifetimes. This is what you've done. You're a part of us. We're a part of you. You know, you fucked my mother. I fucked yours. And now we're equal. You know, that's how the spirit world is on the other side. It's equity and balance. So here we go, military. What shall we call you? What's your name in native language? And then the EBE says, oh, that's not even, now even that isn't easy for me because you will not get the phonetic pronunciations correct without practice. And I'm not able to write down for you because we do not use an alphabetic printed language that I could translate to English easily. Why don't you try it out anyway? Okay. EBE says, of course, Setmis, or Sec the Mouse. Sectimus. Something like that. Check out the spelling. Spelling's irrelevant because it's a non-English, it's just, it's a non-language name. It's a sound. Sounds like that. So, Sekhmus will do. This is the first of 4 names I am known by in our written language. This would be shown by a single graphic symbol that would explain my entire lineage. So, this is why Prince changed his name to a symbol. He had a spiritual awakening. He realized his own I am presence, the God within, and it transformed him. You'll see the behaviors of this extraterrestrial biological entity be more human-like than the military in their state of fear, defense, interrogating this extraterrestrial? I guess they cryogenically, like, unfroze him or something. I don't know the whole story, but this is the conversation between the entity and the military that's like seriously blowing my mind. So let's share the moment together. Let's continue. So the military's like, why is your written language so different from ours? And the EBE put, why is yours so different from Egyptian 30 centuries ago? Forgive me, but that is not a simple problem. The group I belong to gave up any identification with any one planet or its culture before your people learned to make fire. Okay? The civilization was before fire. So we should listen to the extraterrestrial civilization that's speaking to us telepathically, you know, since they knew us before we learned how to make fire. Don't you think? Especially if the spirit realm is in a timeless state and quantum mechanics and quantum physics are all showing with spooky action that things are tied to one another. Let's just be I'm done with the debunking Mari mode. I'm just saying let's go into the oneness and look at it together. What do we have when we go walk into the oneness and look at it, and we're looking at these biological entities giving the information that they're giving? Let's continue. I know I go on these rants, but this is a part of me. If I'm your flavor, I'm your flavor. If I'm not your flavor, I'm not your flavor. Okay. So the military's, after all that, like, you know, okay, we're not going to go into about your language and how everything's been changed since Egypt onwards. Like, you know, rewrote religions and all spread them out on multiple flavors for everybody to fight over. God, my commentary. See, I'm sorry. Okay, interruptive. See, it's just like my commentary is like spicy neurodivergent flavor on top. It's like throwing salt on the wound, basically. Okay, here we go. Specifically, this is why they're here. This is why the EBE says why the aliens are coming. And it's for children. It's the people who have found their inner child, the star children, like me. I have my inner child, and I walk in a land of adults who've sold the fuck out for profit and material gain in a land of consumerism. Okay, keep on going, Mari. Come on. The aliens are speaking through me with my rage. Don't forget I'm a direct channel, so I let everything pass through. If it comes out, it's meant to be. It's transparent. Whether it's pretty or ugly or disorganized, I'm an open channel. Sorry. So, specifically to bring you these children, and we like trees. So that's why they're there, to bring you these children, and we like trees, which is the star children, which they're here. They've always been here. The star people have always been here, living in humanoid form. It's you are a part of a hybrid species. Welcome to the Great Awakening. Anyway, so the military's like, would you like to expand on bringing us the children and liking the trees? And, you know, he's like, certainly. In what direction? You see, we would hate to blow up such a pretty little planet to ruin so many nice trees. If you only knew how hard it is to make a tree from scratch. People are easy. They follow naturally, but not without trees, of course. Green things must be respected above all else, except children, and are very much alike. So the alien species is saying that children and trees are very similar in intelligence and wisdom. to one another because they're connected to nature. They understand natural cycles, and they also understand the toxic redundancy of repetitive cycles. Ugh. You know, the children. What are the intentions of your government by sending you here? So that's from our military, basically, like, what are your intentions from your government who's sending you? These people are not, these entities are self-governed. I mean, you can't even imagine a self-governed environment in today's society with the lack of discipline that people have in their mentality emotionally. They can't handle their anger, they can't handle their rage, they can't help their greed. Like, people lack self-awareness, and this is a fallen consciousness that they're trying to raise. It's very obvious to me. So they don't want to blow us up, and that's as of 1948. We weren't as bad as we are now. So my inkling is that they're totally comfortable, like, taking everyone's thought mind collective box of energy and doing the shut down the earth game and play a new game. That's where my understanding is. So we're already in the new earth game. The old earth game has ended. That's why we're seeing the fall of the church. I'm saying the fall of the church because the church bred separation, and we are one planet, and force the species to survive, we have to act on a unified front for food and shelter with what we're going into on the grand solar minimum. Sorry, people have to work together to make things work. I'm sorry, that's bad news for the 1% who's pillaged everything, thinking digging holes in the ground, hiding like ants is going to actually save you. It won't save you. Your mind will save you. Your consciousness. That's all you need is the oneness of creation, because it will lead and guide you. You're not ready to be prepping, you don't have a big garden, you'll walk into what you need if you actually follow your higher mind, your conscious mind. Anyway, here we go. So the military is like, what are the intentions of your government by sending you here? Who sent you and why? If this isn't the first time evidenced by your familiarity with English, why haven't there been official contacts made? And the EBE size. Why hasn't there been contact? And this is what it's not an artificial, it's an organic divine intelligence. The reason why we can't see a lot of these entities that people channel is because they're higher dimensional. They vibrate. So here, let me see if I can switch my camera. I'm trying to see with an overlay. No, won't let me do it. I don't know how to use this stupid, oh, here, flip. So spirit realm is like, see how the fan blades are like that? Let me see, how do I flip it back? The faster the fan blades go, they become transparent. So these entities are not seen because they vibrate at a higher frequency than we do. And a lot of them, these entities, they were closer to our sound, vibration, and frequency. So these were crashed entities found at the site of Roswell. Stop it, puppy. Okay, so this is the entity. Side in reverse order. What? And be strung up from one of those beautiful trees. Why? Because you sent us an invitation we could not resist for our own curiosity as well as safety. We sent ourselves or volunteered. Take your pick. and we have no government. We outlawed it, or rather, we outgrew it. I suppose you cannot outlaw a thing without laws, and those require governments, do they not? So they're basically saying we're a self-disciplined society. We know how to work together in unity because we're emotionally mature individuals, unlike your government. So our government's like, why haven't you really done a lot to reach out to us? And these higher dimensional beings, this is like God basically saying you suck. Because it's like our government sucks for the people. We're not following the doctrine of love. The government is not following the doctrine of love. I love its people, so I'm going to treat all my people with the kaleidoscope of love. I'm going to make sure all my people have food, are living comfortably, have housing, have the rest and serenity and clarity and calm that they need first for their families to succeed before we get the whips and chains and, slave tactics out. Shit that AI will liberate us from, basically. Everything's changing. The church is falling. People need me to be sarcastic and do the jokes. So we're going to keep on reading. Here we go. Are we like this so far? It's going longer because of my commentary. I don't care how long this takes me. I'm just going to do it. And then if it goes over my time, I'll stream what I need to stream and continue to do it. So the military, to that response, basically saying, why wouldn't you come? Because you would fuck us. The military's like, I don't understand. I don't understand. The military, our military, to this intelligent ET is like, I don't understand. And then the intelligence, this ET energy, EBE, let's call him EB for fun. EB, I know that. Try laughing. You still will not understand, but you will feel better about your ignorance. Like the actual alien is sitting there calling our military ignorant. And this is, back in the late 1940s. All right. They don't understand clearly our military is of lower consciousness. You have to be of higher mind to see a higher mind. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. If you don't, you are of lower consciousness and you have work to do from within, period. So the military is like, that's not good enough. Make me understand. And then the entity or EB's like, it will have to suffice. One cannot teach until a student wants to learn. So he's right, like this is basically like Jesus saying, the master comes when the student is ready. It's just like that. When you're here because you want to be a student, you want to hear, you want to learn, you want to understand a broader scope of reality. How good do you want us to be? I will not harm you. We will not harm you or interfere any more than you want us to. We are only here to offer what you asked for in a manner we know you will accept. And you did ask us to come and visit. Okay? So this entity, the alien UFOs getting interviewed by our military is basically saying, yo, you called us to planet Earth to be here. Like, why are you, and then the military's like, well, who sent you? Well, you sent us. So the cries of the Earthlings is what caused the UFO crash back in Aztec, New Mexico, basically. Like, the humans somehow successfully gave a signal out and it was responded to. Like, people think that UFO tinfoil hat wearers are, not credible, But there's enough shit on the table now where I'm comfortable saying full disclosure is among us. Like, how can it not be? Especially when conversations like this are out there that show how ignorant our military was just a short time ago. It gives me no hope that they're any more, enlightened to this day, because actions speak louder than words. And if these aliens are saying we don't fight amongst each other, while these ignorant governments are blowing each other up and starving innocent people and children, you gotta wonder what humanity is dealing with. Anyway, let's carry on. And for those joining me, I'm reading a transcript from the UFO crash where the government agencies are interviewing an alien, and the alien's basically schooling the shit out of it. It's entertaining. So here we go. So we're back to the military interrogating this alien. When? Who sent you? Who invited you? Ready? Listen to this. The EB says, almost 50 of your years ago, you sent us signals. You were looking for us. You scared us with a signal you should not have been capable of sending. So we answered. But you didn't understand our answer then, just as you don't now. We do our best to please others. When you didn't respond to our message to you and you did not come for a visit, we felt that we really ought to stop by and see how you were doing. It has been a long time, and it's the neighborly thing to do, of course. Besides, it was right on a way to another destination. Your world, basically, they're like, oh, by the way, we're just passing Earth, and we heard your call. So we just, stop by, no biggie. Wait till you hear who did the call. Like it's like the mind is blown for me. I need somewhere to go with it. It's crazy. So the military's like, so you guys have been here on Earth before? And the EB is, I know. We're surprised that you had forgotten us. So this species is basically like, we won't visit Earth because you're violent and mentally ill, and we're surprised you forgot who you are and what you are, and you forgot us. So just saying, this was in the late 1940s. And then the military was like, I don't see how we could forget you. Are you serious? Well, when the Rockefellers write out the indoctrination for its people to be slaves to a master race so it forgets itself, obviously that's how it was forgotten. I'm sure there's other family bloodlines tied into it. Gilgamesh, there's stories throughout history, the master and slave. The truth is, there is no master, there is no slave. It's equity. Nature is one of equity. There is none better than one another. We serve each other equally. No, that takes a level of intellect. You have to be above a master mind to understand the master isn't in control of the collective. The true people walking the earth, like these EBEs, these extraterrestrials that have the higher mind, they know that the wholeness of creation is the truth. That humans think small on planet Earth, and we have separated and divided ourselves to the point we forgot who we are. And look at the state of beingness that we are. The state of separation has caused a state of divide, which has caused a state of survival. So let's continue reading this some more. Okay, so the military is like, I don't see how we could forget you. Are you serious? And then the extraterrestrial says very seldom. So he's actually saying they're very seldom serious, because they're joking all the time. Because if you understand the higher mind, you understand the hypocrisy. There's dark in the light and light in the dark, in the plays of duality. There is yes and no on both sides of the court. The higher mind sees it all, and it understands the background of why it happened, and it understands like genetic trauma causes fear, causes genetic defects that are fear induced, what fear does to the psyche, pattern recognition, and all of that. So let's go on to read the EBE some more. So the military is like, I don't see how we could forget you. Are you serious? The EBE says, very seldom, but yes, your culture, which now dominates the civilization, did forget us. Actually, your people seem to have undergone a period of history in which you're so afraid of old truths that you've erased them in favor of religious fantasy. Some of your people remember us orally in their legends, such as those who speak the Nahuatl, Narragansett, and Athabascan dialects. Good luck figuring that out. I don't know. I'll have to research that. They lived where we last visited, but the high point of their cultures is long past. And then our military was like, I never heard of them. And then the EB was like, not surprising. Your history shows that the conqueror seldom preserves any history of its victims. I speak of the natives in this landmass, those called Indians, most on your eastern and southern borders, and the ribbon of land that connects yours to the southern continent. Navajos, Aztecs, Incas, the Olmecs, the Toltecs cultures, these were all greater than your own civilization at a time when you were burning witches and killing their cats, which brought a plague that killed millions of your ancestors. So, and this is why I'm so passionate about the topic, because you got the 1600s where they were burning witches. You have the 1600s where we're coming out of a grand solar minimum. The sun is known to electromagnetically influence human consciousness from a data sensory intellect. Also, you know, it's a sensory intellect, and it's a data mind knowledge wisdom intellect. I could go on forever. I'm going to keep on reading this because it's like, okay. So this entity is basically like, wow, look at what you've done to your indigenous people. And how can I disagree with this extraterrestrial? And how can I not look at this document and not say that our military is ignorant? Maybe that's why I'm against government consensus. Maybe I'm an ET. I don't know, man. Shit just makes sense what this ET is saying. So after that ET is like all the slaughter with the Indians, that's why, you know, we wouldn't do, you know, come and just land and be like, hey, we're here, because you're obviously violent and terrible. So the military guy's like, oh, that's the response. And then the ET was like, and your social pundits speculate and joke about why we don't land in front of your nation's capital, building and shaking hands. We are different, not insane. The ET's saying we're different, not insane. Like, what do you want us to do? Just land in front of the White House and, like, you know, act like we're best friends? Like, that's not how our military acts, and they're more intellectual than our society, so they obviously are going to guard themselves, because they know if they land in the front of the White House, that mass hysteria will break out, because the government's done such a poor job socially landscaping people's emotional waters. Flat out told you. All the CIA and FBI agencies, you special dark forces, you Space Force legends out there monitoring my behaviors and stuff. You know what's to come. It's all I have to say. All right, so the military's like, but we've changed. Western civilization's now the leader in the world and for freedom and humanity. We're the leaders. Let me just send those weapons to Israel and we'll fuck all the food deliveries up in the Palestine with the borders and the it's just the demons on this planet will get exorcised. Trust me. There's too much wisdom in this planet to fail. That's all I gotta say. So the military's like, but we've changed. Well, you can land on the White House and we'll act like all like welcome in and bring in like. So the EB is like two things. First, we believe that or we wouldn't be here now. So that sounds like an olive branch that I wouldn't have given. So good on you, EB. Also, tell that to millions of Hebrews in your Western civilization. It says also, tell that to millions of Hebrews in your Western civilization has destroyed in the past decade, or millions of Negro families whose sons died to stop the madman Hitler, but who do not have plumbing in their homes as we speak. Yes, you make progress. That's hopeful for you, but emotionally, you are very different from us. Not primitive. That label would be pure egotism on our parts, but you're very different and frightening to us. We are trying to learn to overcome those differences before your runaway technology thrusts you upon us without any choice. And they're talking about like these brain organelles. They're taking brains, like mice brains, merged and spliced with genetic human DNA and hooking them up to chips on computers. Nature's sentient. Nature knows. The one mind of the universe is the one mind of the universe. The one mind of the universe would never hurt itself. So this entity is like, we are not like you. You terrify us because you hurt your species. Look at look at Israel and Palestine. I mean, we literally have aliens and civilizations like in our skies looking down on us, being like, what the fuck, humans? Like, what the fuck? And they've been doing it for a long time. That's why everything is changing now. That's why the world seems so surreal right now. And we're going to keep on going. Keep on going on. I'm going to keep on reading because I got to get through this. Okay. So the CB says two things. First, we believe that or we wouldn't be here now. And then, did I read all this? I did this. Now, the military is like, we have no space travel capability. How could we harm you? So they don't understand how damaging our acts of violence are. Like, our own military doesn't even see how dangerous it is to its own species through these experiments. You know, we are lab rats right now with all of the Wi-Fi, like think of everything from sound, vibration, and frequency, and think of all the Wi-Fi networks. Think of how devolved society is just by language alone, and think about these civilizations who do not speak with words, but communicate just with the mind through telepathy. We know telepathy is a thing. I mean, I know it exists because I channel entities just like this, and they're telling me they have the same humor They have the same, just like, what the fuck attitude. But I'm the crazy person that gets put in the mental ward when, I disassociate and I have, the system is fucked. And I'm just, I want to be like the new Pat Robertson. If Pat Robertson can like cast the devil out and make millions, I'm going to just be like this annoying internet entity that's casting the demons out, and whoever wants to listen to me can listen to me. So right now we're reading a transcript of the military with an extraterrestrial bioorganic identity that basically is a hero from outer space, in my opinion. So the EB says, in terms, you're very close to that point. Do you have small children? Yes. Well, they will grow up in a world where space travel is taken for granted. And before they make you a grandfather, Earthmen will be in space. So they're already talking about how advanced we are as a civilization, but also how advanced we are and how terrifying that could be, damaging to other extraterrestrial civilizations that are peaceful. We are not known to be a species of peace. Look, sucks, but it's the truth. So the military is like, all right, you've been visiting us for some time. I have no choice but to accept that, even though I'd love some proof. But you still didn't tell me who sent you the message from Earth that brought you back here. And then the EB was like, funny, you should connect those two subjects. If you dig in a place, I'll show you on any world map. Oh, wait, hold on. It's making me, I'm talking too long, I guess. Okay, where did I leave off? Unfortunately, I am now in the wrong country for this, but others of my people will instruct the proper government to dig there. So basically, these entities are telling our governments to dig up certain things. So when you see things get revealed in archaeological events, these ETs are actually saying, go check this out. You see, in a remote part of the nation you call Yugoslavia, we visited and helped people there build a very advanced culture over 7,000 years ago. It will be found. But there is a beautiful mystery in the fact the person who sent us your first mission 49 years ago in 1899 did come from this nation originally. His transmission was sent from here, however, in the state you call Colorado. Can you tell us his name? Are there any others? Proofs of earlier visits. Okay. And thousands of proofs if you look around. The scientist I spoke to was an electrical researcher named Nikola Tesla. Okay, so this species that crash landed and got, interviewed at Aztec, Mexico, basically they're saying they received a call from Nikola Tesla. Are people, how can this not be like mainstream? Like, how can people not be like being like, okay, so aliens contacted Nikola Tesla, he just master genius of everything, electromagnetic physics, consciousness, hello. Wow. I'm sorry. This interview, the fact that our military did this and is still ignorant to what this ET civilization is saying about our human civilization, how mentally ill and sick it is. It makes me mentally ill and sick to think about it. It's seriously, it's like, what the fuck? All right, I gotta go. I gotta keep on reading. Okay. So where did we go? I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Okay, so you're old enough to have heard of him when he was still alive. I just
thought of a very good puzzle for some of you to solve. On an island you named the Isle of Pines in the Pacific Ocean, you will find what is left of a concrete landing platform that was built there 115 of your centuries ago. You cannot miss finding that since the footings we put down still cover many acres. Look for those if you would like to. No culture on your planet could have built them at that time. It would have been fun for me if you ever located them because my great-grandfather helped pour the mortar for them. Okay, so this entity's great-grandfather poured mortar for them. And this entity is saying it was done 115 of our centuries ago. And it was his great-great-grandfather. Who knows how long these entities live? My understanding is it's truly timeless, and you're at such a high pace of energy, your molecular material you can instant materialize whatever shape or form you want, is my understanding. We're just in a fucked up, dense, slower density matrix that is on the path of speeding up in one vibration and in another vibration slowing down. It's a layered dimensional thing that's going on. Anyway, so aliens got summoned to planet Earth by Nikola Tesla. And no one's really talking about it. Thanks, Cat Dad, for showing me this, because it's really made my mind go, what the fuck? Where's the faith, Sky? Who knows? Anyway, the military was like, what? How long do your people live? And the ET was like, somewhat too long, I think, at times. We have built up our age somewhat. It would vary, but I was alive when your whole continent was practically a question mark on the sea charts. And then the military's like, what about the babies we found with you? Are they human? What are we supposed to do with them? And then because they found young on the ship, everyone was cryogenically frozen, and they figured out they relocated this extraterrestrial family to the mountains of Vermont, by the way. I'm not even lying. This is what the fucking shit says, man. Like, what the hell? So we have UFOs that are being summoned by Nikola Tesla. The aftermath of, they got relocated in the mountains of Vermont. I live in the Adirondacks, which is like an hour away from the mountains of Vermont. So I feel the presence of ETs like in such massive waves. It's not even funny in my area. And my area is very known for the original natives on the East Coast. So like the original Podunk Indian tribe, like that's where like my blood is spawned. And it sounds funny, but it's not. It's true. It's fucked up. All of it. All of the dots connecting are just too much for me to handle anymore, I think. We're just going to continue reading. Okay. Raise them, of course. They want to know what to do with the alien kids. That's what I have as done. Certainly they are human, perhaps more so depending on whose definition we use. You are too far away from understanding the whole science of bioengineering, yet for this to be sensible, but just accept that we have sown the seeds of a rich harvest for your culture, and this will continue. They are only children, not monsters, but raise them well, please, because the care of children is one of a few things we do not laugh about. So these they're very protective of children, and they're monitoring our civilization with what we're doing. Can you imagine now, this was in the late 40s, now this day and age with what our culture is doing to the children in Palestine, like what these entities think of us, and the actual the lengths that they're going through. These ETs are coming through, they're speaking through our people now. You know how they say, like, the Holy Ghost speaks through the people, Jesus speaks through the people, your inner living God speaks through you. These ETs are no different from us. They're using our vessels to speak through us. This is the separation is the delusion. These people calling them aliens are causing degrees of separation in the reality that we are entities in nature that are a part of other civilizations beyond this planet. Humans think small. Anyway, so the military's like, I remember this man Tesla you spoke of. He died during the war in 1943, but I never heard that he tried to contact other worlds. Like, Tesla's gonna be like, yo, dude, this is what I'm doing. I've learned to talk to another, Tesla knew. He knew the higher mind. He knew how to channel. He knew it, because if you read the history of Tesla, you'll know how good his mother was. And Tesla was the way he was because of his mother. So, in my opinion, based on all my research, Tesla's mother is like the Mother Mary, who gave birth to the Virgin Spirit, Tesla. With the Virgin Spirit, I'm not saying that to be like, it's not a sexualized term. It means that he had the mind of a man, he had the intellect of the man, but the senses of a human who wanted to take care and nurture its people. That's the mixture of the divine feminine and the divine masculine dancing together. The knowledge dancing with the emotional sensory input, your emotional, your nonverbal, how the knowledge makes you feel. Nikola Tesla was perfection. He was a modern day genius, like, not just genius. He was like a prophet. He was like a modern day Jesus that got severely overlooked by the sick, warlike mentality of the past generations, which we have grown out of. Anyone feeling fear with what I'm reading, don't. Don't put yourself in a state of fear. We are healing from the past. The ick that you feel with the topic is the trauma bubbling up and moving its way out, because we are truly on a modern day renaissance going into the future with the sun, with the technology, with human consciousness emotionally becoming alert and online. We're get there. Anyone's worried, don't be scared. So, all right. The extraterrestrial, it was in all the papers, along with the story of how he was always being taken to court by his neighbors for creating lightning, which struck their properties. Besides, when Tesla wouldn't answer, we sent a reply to your great inventor Marconi that we had arrived for a visit. So in on the top, it shows a picture of Marconi with his radio apparatus, and you'll see this on I'm replaying this on WTF Sky, my YouTube channel, at 10 o'clock, hopefully. It might be a little late. I'm going to replay this, and then I'm going to do a live chat afterwards with whoever's in the chat with me. So, you'll see that. Anyway. So not only did they contact Tesla, they contacted Marconi. And the military's like, really? When was this? I'm sure he never reported it. And then the EB was like, you see how you hear but don't really listen? Again, it made all the papers. We just arrived here in 1920 or 22. It was 1922. And we sent him the letter Y in his own code. It meant that he had visitors. He told everyone that he knew for certain that the signal came from outer space, but nobody really listened. Well, after that, we began to figure out that your man Tesla was way ahead of the rest of your science. Even by accident, he shouldn't have learned how to do what he did in his lifetime. So the ET is like basically like, you're not even listening. Like, you're saying, really? When was this? I'm sure he never reported it. And he's like, I'm telling you, it was in the papers. Like, the ET is like, you are not listening. And then our government, like, puts the whole transcript out like they're proud of it. Like, yeah, this happened, no big deal. Just showing how fucking ignorant we are. Then you get Mari and Cat Dad on TikTok talking about it, and then it's just, there we go again. Okay, so we're gonna keep on reading this. So they hear and don't listen. So the military is not paying attention that he didn't listen. He just follows it up with another question, not acknowledging his ignorance. Why did it take 20 years for you to answer Tesla's message? And the EB's like, it did not. We answered it immediately. Oh, I see. Our arrival took 22 years, not 20, because that's how long it takes to get here from where we were when we got Tesla's invitation. So they're in a place of like non-physicality, but they have physicality, and they're able to travel here, and it takes 22 years of space-time. Who knows? So the military is like, so long, you took such a far journey just to find us, and you didn't even contact us? And this thing's been like, I've been contacting you motherfuckers the whole time. You saying I'm not contacting you? You know, like, you can hear how ignorant the people running the situation is, which gives me very little faith how they're handling it now, but we'll see. We got some, that Greer guy, he released all the documents. He has a clue what's going on. All right. So EB's like, as I said, it was on the way somewhere else. We were planning to visit anyway. Besides, how long or far it all is relative. It is not when we live as long as we do. Like, it's like time, it doesn't matter. 22 years is nothing when you have infinity. It's like a blink in time. Which would make me speculate that the reason why time feels like it's sped up right now is because this was back in the day in the 40s where we didn't have technology. Now we have technology, so our communication has sped up. But our emotions haven't had time to speed up with the data, if that makes sense. So if you're feeling imbalanced, that is one part of your mind wants to go fast. Your emotional sensory mind is saying, please just let me feel and go slow. And it's because we've been bombarded with the data, and it's so much to take in and feel. It's like comes in fast, comes out slow. Like, it's like being constipated, but emotionally, which causes tension, stress, anxiety, panic attacks, depression. It is a stored energy that has a negative effect on you if you're not aware of it. Having awareness of it is the freeing part of it, because you can be like, shit's changing. I feel weird. Let me just shut down for a minute and breathe, because that's the reality I can do. That's the liberation and freedom I can give myself, is just come to my center and know that we are growing out of the genetic trauma. That's the good news. So let's get back to it, because I don't have a whole lot of time left, and I got to read. So here we go. So, okay, so he said, as is said, on the way to somewhere else, we were planning to visit anyway. But why not contact us after such a journey? And then the EB laughs. I'm sorry, but you still do not see. We did contact you. Like, he's still saying, like, again, he's like, you didn't contact us. And we're like, we did. Like, he's not hearing. I want you guys to go over this when we're done and really marinate on this because it's something in history that it's like it's definitely a what the fuck moment for me at least. So the ET is like, I'm sorry, but you still do not see. We did contact you. We are contacting you, all to the limits of your ability to hear the message. I keep telling you that it's relative. Please laugh about it. I'm trying to explain a limit to your perception, which is caused by your limited perception. Do you see the wonderful paradox? And I see that paradox. But the military interviewing this ET doesn't see the paradox. It doesn't. This is why I'm saying the lower mind cannot see the higher mind. There is two different species of entities on this planet. Some can see and some cannot. And those that can't see, I don't know if they're made to see. They're just made to be the slave race unknowingly. The people that do see are like, oh my God, what's happening? Let's at least treat the slaves nicely. The higher mind is like, if we're going to have a slave race, which the humans tend to want because they don't want to do anything, let's make, and this goes to the bioengineering of the higher mind. And it's clearly shown in history that there's a master race and a slave race. And this is a whole nother topic. But it's this article. It ties everything in. I keep on getting distracted because my mind's so blown reading it. It's like, I hope you guys are the same way. I hope this isn't just a me thing having a, problem with data input. I don't know. So the EB was, the military is like, if you say so, but such a trip has no purpose in our way of seeing things. So the military is basically like saying, whatever, if you say you contacted us, whatever, you didn't. Like they're basically, they don't get telepathy, they don't get channeling, they don't get the unseen nonverbal wisdom. Nature is seen in patterns, and there's so much. These civilizations work off of sacred geometry and patterns and a different scale of palettes that humans just aren't accustomed to. So, the military is just being ignorant to this extraterrestrial, and his response is, of course not. That is why we do what we do. Listen now, because this could go on forever if you do not, because the entity is basically saying you're talking in circles. You're saying that I'm not saying something. And this is like the empath and narcissist circular, abuse pattern. Pulling out, like I'm pulling this out just from an interview that our military had with an extraterrestrial that was summoned to the planet by Nikola Tesla. I can't even believe this is my reality, that I'm sitting here trying to talk to the public and get people to see this. Like, because it's like, it should be alarming to people. People should be like, what the fuck? This happened in our history and it needs to be talked about. Fucking talk about Nikola Tesla, everybody, please. Flood the gates with all that is him, please. Anyway, I'm going on with the extraterrestrial talking. We're at home wherever we park our craft, which is probably above my house at the moment, laughing. They're laughing at my reaction reading this shit, because they're like, I know, brother. I know, sister. Yes, mama. It sucks. It is huge by any standards you could apply. We are concerned because this area of space is one we cross regularly as a simple matter, of course. Like your campers who vacation at the same place every year. Suddenly, we're finding our camping site threatened by bears. But bears are protected. You're not supposed to hurt them. So you must tame them or give up the whole vacation. Do you see that although you are a long way from travel from other stars by our standards, you will be overrunning the whole area by the next time our children pass by there. Do you see why this is vital? Unless you destroy yourselves first for us to tame you now before you come to us. When they say destroy yourselves first for us to tame you now, that's your ego. Your ego is where the fear is. And they're looking at us from our military complex. And they're basically saying our military complex can no longer come from a place of ego mind, a state of fear and unknowing. Our military complex has to come from a state of knowing the oneness of creation before these extraterrestrial entities start protecting the oneness of creation. Hence why people like you and me have incarnated to be here at this time, because we're not taking no shit. So we're here with the ETs being like, if Tesla's an ET, I'm okay with ETs. Just don't call him an alien, because he's an extension of who and what we are as humans on planet Earth, living within creation, which is all that nature has spawned. It's been given to us as an inheritance of nature. Well beyond Earth, well beyond this planet. Okay, so they have a craft and they park it, and they're saying they can't tame bears. Do you see why this is vital? Okay, they're pressing our military, why can't we play nice, basically? And he's like, would you let savage headhunters roam the streets of a city without sending them to school first? Because that's basically how they're looking at us. He's saying right there, would you let savage headhunters roam the streets of a city without sending them to school first? And this confirms Dolores Cannon's Earth School, that Earth is a school for the extraterrestrial mind that never dies. We are a short-term blink in history to learn what not to do. So if you've had a shitty life like me, now you know. We don't have to do this again. Thank you. You've graduated. And it's like Jesus says, walk a mile in his shoes. You only want to walk a fucking mile. Don't repeat the cycles. This is all about going from a dual mindset to a state of non-duality, a state of oneness, which is peace within, harmonic unity. Dual mindset is like two magnets separated, polarized next to one another. The opposite, or the two same sides. And then the opposites attracting is the harmonic unity. So important. So important to our civilization, so important to these extraterrestrial civilizations trying to contact us to establish peace on our planet. It's not an easy task. It's not, but we need to talk about it, because we have these civilizations that want to help us, but they think that we're savage headhunters ready to just, look at our military. Look at what we're doing to the children in Palestine, Israel and Palestine. You're leaving bad examples for humanity by being hostile and not serving humanity with housing, food, and shelter, and dignity. And just the very basics. Anyway, let me keep on reading. We're going to keep on reading. It says, they say, we cannot interfere with you any more than you would interfere with bears in your parks. Someday we would rather you joined us, visited our worlds where we do make camp, and joined us on our long voyage of discovery. Or not. It is your destiny as long as you do not try and alter ours. Try and grow into our perspective, and all the illogic you question will seem very reasonable. It's all a matter of scale, centuries instead of decades. So they're on a totally different time scale than us. Like, we want it now. And they're just looking at centuries, like how long it's taken humans to go from the sand dunes to the AI, basically. We grow in at a our tech has grown us at an enormous speed. So it says, as a matter of scale, centuries instead of decades. Someday you'll be just about like us, and you will see some new short-lived species will think you are crazy. Will think you're a crazy metaphysical paradox too. So, and that's us. Some new short-lived species, the Earth School, because who wants to be in hell in Earth School, learning all what not to be? Like, we we grow into a new world together. Like, that's how these extraterrestrials establish civilizations. They're not going to destroy our civilization. They're going to allow us to grow in to their civilization. So it's like growing the world how it is now in a state of separation, growing that into be establishing earthlings as having world peace. That's basically what their goal is. They just want peace, which also, when there's peace, there's not any competition, there's not any hoarding of material gains. All the famines in history are false. Like, if you actually research the famines in history, people had food. They were withheld from having food. They were, and if you look at what they've done to rural farms, to us, they've taken our power away to feed ourselves. And it's like, you'll see with states like California, they're giving back to the Native Americans now. They just got, I think, 2,000 acres back, which is, it's all progress, small little pieces, but that to me is giving the indigenous back their land that they can hopefully use to improve the world. We'll see. Who knows? So the military is like, but with your science, you can make any world your own personal paradise. Why live on spaceships? You put, yes, and with our weapons, we could take what we want as well. But why have one world when you can see them all? You all covet land, a very old idea, and only natural when supply is limited. So it's like, this entity is like, they don't want to destroy it because they want all. All in all is all we are. So the highest form of intellect knows that divide and separation is a finite energy. The two exhaust each other. Like, if life is broken, then it's nothing's breathing life into one another. So this is all just, oh, it's just golden. This ET also says some new short-lived species will think you're crazy metaphysical paradox too. That's because everything is and everything isn't. And you'll have to learn to treat them gently as children without letting your egos get in the way. So basically, the people on the spiritual journey, finding their inner child, getting in contact with their emotional sensory centers, realizing that they're adults who want to have fun in this life and abandon the concepts of slave mentality. Like, the people with the inner child are also umbrellaed into the species. Like, when they're saying save the children, it's not just our children, but if we aren't the ancestors from a childlike perspective of innocence and purity, like, if we don't hold on to our own inner child as adults, how are we going to allow our children to live in purity and innocence if we're not creating a world that is purity and innocence like a child? Like, if we're not creating like a child, we're not thinking like a child, we lose the creative aspects. So you'll see our industry's been over sexualized. Children are the slave workers. Instead of learning and exploring and doing, we are all maintaining a state of survival. It's not good for our children, and it's not good for us, because they see us maintaining that state of survival, and then that's what they're trained to do by just looking at us in a state of survival. And that is not what these advanced civilizations do. They don't just live to survive. They live just to be. And this gets very Buddhist in the end. Like when you get with the higher mind, just being with no defining things is like the kryptonite. Definitions hold things hostage to a concept. Sucks, but it's true. So, our God is change and religion is understanding. So, they said their God is change and understanding. Searching for truth is our greatest social challenge and purpose. When you build up your age, this will become clear to you as to why you must breathe air. Breathing and focused breath work with intent is super, super healing. I've been doing it for a decade and it has transformed me. You would never guess I'm 47 years old. Breath work has breathed life into me. I highly recommend it. And the CT is recommending it. So that's why I'm boasting all about this and pointing out how stupid the investigator is on this thing. So the military is like, sounds like yours is the ideal, perfect world. And the EB is like, no, when you have more years, filling them profitably is a real problem. So he's basically saying when you have eternity, it's not all about profit, because that's not a fun way to live life, is profit, 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 profit. It's not. And the trouble with being a loving species is that you want to prove it by making more of your kind with a partner you love. Of course, this must be closely regulated in a culture such as ours, and so relationships of an intimate nature are difficult to leave to one's heart. This gets into prearranged marriage. And this is on a spiritual level and on a physical level. Like you're married to your own divine partner on the other side. You grow into that relationship naturally. You walk into that over time, and it's not just with one entity, it's with your experience of being. And it gets hard and confusing for people to understand the divine marriage, because it's like they want to do the whole twin flame things and like find someone outside themselves to do it with, when it's not that. Like this is a relationship you take with you every single lifetime. So people don't perceive this, and you have to work with the spirit to understand that there's it's with you all the time, but it's separate in the physical world. Like it's like your half is with you. Some people called them two-faced gods back in the day. Like Dionysus, I think, was one. So the military is like, if you speak of the heart as being the seat of emotions, this is a concept we use on Earth, but we know it to be sort of a romantic fiction. Why does an advanced race like yours maintain such a notion? So our military is telling the extraterrestrials that love is not the answer. Love is not the key. That love is just a romantic fiction. And this is not true. When you practice self-love, you get connected to the divine. Like you are connected, and when the divine connects to you, you know it, you feel it sensory on a non-verbal level, something our language has really retarded. That's why I say people used to be telepathic until language was created. Language, it was like how religions separated tribes. Language divided people from their natural ability to like Tesla contacted and reached out to an extraterrestrial civilization. All is of the mind. This is Hermetic principles. Look up Hermetic principles. You'll see how long this has gone on for. And that's why it's worth talking about now in the modern day, because Gen X is like, we're Xing out all the bullshit from history and going forward with the fun shit because we're sick of it. Let's be honest. We know the youth of today deserve better and we're going to give them better. We're not quitters. Gen X, you kidding me? Look at us. We're fucking awesome. It's a piece of cake. This is piece of cake for us. Rebuilding a new world with vision and knowledge. We can do this. This military, they're just going to have to be schooled by us eventually. They're all studying, people like us, you get your gang stalkers and stuff that try to wind you up. Don't worry about them. Just carry on with your heart based. Your heart emits neurons. Your heart has its own brain. Don't believe me? Check the scientific papers out. I'm not some metaphysical woo-woo kind of person. I'm well studied. Check it out. Just saying. Pretty cool that we actually have two brains. This emits neurons, your heart emits neurons, and your heart is its own entity. That is the living God. It's amazing. It's like, and the living God within, the speaking from the heart, this heart of unity and sacredness of all creation, the one mind of the universe. These extraterrestrial civilizations get it. It's clear by this interview, the military back in the 40s had no idea because they don't practice it. If you don't practice it, you don't understand it. So if you're like, oh, the one mind of the universe, whatever, that sounds little, not me, but it's a collective of all there is. And if you start being the third person, like observer, like going into being the eye on the top of the pyramid, you can do that. Like pretend you're God for a minute and be like, how's things look up here? That's all it is. It's a zoomed out depth of perspective. How's it look from my perspective? How's it look from Palestine's perspective? How's it look from that little kid in the corner crying that just had his arm shut off? How's it over there with Israel filling their plates? Are they having problems too? Okay, I'm seeing from a round perspective. Israel's miserable here, they're happy there. Palestine's miserable here, they're not very happy anywhere. Okay, that's the truth of what's going on. That's how our brains work. We don't think in black and white, good and bad, yes and around. We're thinking in the whole spectrum. But they've made people believe that they're only looking one, oh, it's just this way. Israel's good, yay. Don't ever doubt human ingenuity. Come on. Okay, we're going to read from my friend EB here. So... all right, so actually the military says you speak of the heart being the seat of emotions, the concept, and then, okay, so what did they say? They said the heart's not the seat of the emotions. Okay, well, I use that particular expression for your benefit, but why do you object to romance? And this is something females are like, man, why aren't there any guys that have depth, that know how to feel, that know how to touch a woman, like, like feel with sensuality. Like this is the shit. That's depth. That's depth of perception, like how deep romance can go from a sensory perspective. A woman knows. The guys don't know. They don't know. And the reason is their consciousness, the masculine consciousness, fell. They didn't pay attention to the emotional waters, which is the divine feminine, the dark feminine. It's dark because it's nonverbal. So people's perception of what's dark, be careful that it's not really scary dark. It's dark like in a shadow kind of way. It's dark because it's nonverbal. You have to feel it. The Holy Ghost you have to feel from within. That's your emotional waters. You feel it from within, whether it's truth or not. You know from within because you feel it. You just know. So that's how I know this alien is smarter than our military. So we're going to keep on talking about it because Nikola Tesla summoned these aliens. And we obviously are, needing to be in contact with them to this day because they want help. They want to help. So, well, I use that particular expression for your benefit, but why do you object to romance? Your species is often driven by little else except romantic vision. Why not ours as well? Certainly, our way of life must seem romantic to you. It does to us. We write poems and express ourselves with works of art, just as you do. Many of the greatest works of construction on your world were inspired by a joyful effort of our people and yours in our distant past. We leave these wherever we go, and you romantic creatures have tried for many generations to explain why such huge monuments to human engineering were ever built in the first place. Why they were built to express the joy of living, of course, and the great sense of satisfaction our people have gotten from working side by side with yours has been one of our biggest joys in life. That is another reason for our being here. Surely even a small child can enjoy such joy. And this is where, our children, do they have enough time to experiment with music, experiment with the arts, not make art just to survive, because today's artists are churning stuff out. And a lot of them are neurodivergent, just trying to survive, like doing, like a lot of creatives suffer. Like, why? Why are we like allowing that kind of, because it's unnecessary, and other civilizations are basically like, why are we abandoning our joy? Why, when our beautiful, innocent, pure children grow up, they are miserable adults in survival mode, exhausted? Why? What are we doing wrong? Can we do it better? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I'm all about reading this and just whatever. So the military's like, you keep talking about a message for us. Can you define that a little more? And all along the ET's like, you guys are monsters. You treat each other like shit. Like, what are like, he's mentioning like all of the African American deaths, all of the deaths with Hitler. Like, he's mentioning all these slaughtering of indigenous tribes, and this is the level of intelligence. The military is still like, what's your message? I don't get it. I don't get it. You got a message? What's your message? So the extraterrestrials, like, we simply are. We just are. Can you imagine a society where people could just be? Like, I just don't want to go to work today. I just want to be. Like, if we actually created a society where we could actually support one another, if we had a neurological burnout day, we don't have to lose our jobs just to get some mental clarity if we're having a bad day. People have to work through it now. It's like, do or die, We simply are, the extraterrestrials say. They do things out of pleasure and joy. That's how they build their civilizations and live forever. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here, humans? Come on, Earthlings. We'll wake up eventually. It's all happening. We just got to be patient. It's growing, happening, exponential rate. I've seen it happening in history. It's all happening. Like, I know it feels like it's taken forever, but it's already done. We're just watching everybody wake up to it. We're there. We're good. The ETs have helped us. It's just, this is the awakening. This is everybody waking up to it. People like me reading how Tesla summoned the help. Here we are. He's a modern day Caped hero. We do not wish to direct contact with your people. So they do not contact you unless you contact them. This is why people who meditate wind up evolving into channelers. Because when you sit in silence and just listen, you gain understanding. You work out all your problems. You wind up healing from within. I grew up in a house of hoarders. I have genetic childhood trauma. Like, I never really had a sense of self from a child. Like, I never knew I was autistic, high functioning, high masking, trying to figure out my world. Like, this shit is what everybody is experiencing right now. We're just being like, we've been in the sensory world not understanding our own senses. It's humbling. It's humbling to assess yourself like that. It's humbling to see society be in such a state like that. But it's also inspiring to see society be at such a good growth as well. So I'm almost done here. We do not wish to do that, so we seek to be accepted at the lowest level possible, and hence the broadest one possible, which is just accept the oneness of creation. That's good enough. The I am presence is them. Just be enough as you are and understand all your actions ripple out to an environment that you don't see. So be conscious with the higher mind and knowing how your actions affect society. This is how the 1% gets their power. We give it to them. You don't want them to have the power. Find out ways to cut your power back from them. Not watching the news is a great way because you're not only not taking in toxic information from the news, you're not being advertised by their advertise, all the money that these stations pay out for advertisers, or they actually, have ad products. These TV stations will fail because they're funded by the people trying to sell shit. And if people aren't buying shit, the TV stations lose their funding. That's how I'm saying how powerful you are. That's why I'm so censored. They don't want me to talk. Don't listen to me. I shut down the whole world and restart it again. Anyway, that's basically, it's already happened. We're just reprogramming it. That's what we're doing. That's what the Gen X nerds are doing. Like, we're spiritual nerds that have no real identity or don't want to be. We're so sick of labels. Like, we don't want to define ourselves. So we're just gonna navigate it through, like, we were raised on Saturday morning cartoons. So some people are Care Bears, some people are Ninja Turtles, some people are Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This seriously is the generation where the Gen Xers take over from the boomers. It could be so good. That's all I have to say. Let me finish up this. The understanding will be given to you by the widened percepted skills of these children we are bringing you. Children, like, I see it myself as a child. So here I am. Please help me save the world. Oh, please, God, let me work with these extraterrestrials to save the world. Please, just give my child a better future. Please, because I don't want my child to suffer like an adult like I have. Please. Okay, there we go. We're all in agreement so we can move forward and grow from it. This is great. I love how this works. Okay, they continue. For your sakes, this must not come from political or religious leaders. This is why you are so important to me, and I am so important to me, and we are so important to we. We are so important. Humans are so awesome and important. We need to act like it. We should demand it from people. And I think Gen X has what it takes to back all the future generations. We are the cool. We're like the Breakfast Club. We're like, you want to see how shit's done? Here we are, people. Anyway, I can't read this without all my stupid interjections. Okay. I channel a lot of this because it's like there's like an ET, a little green ET in a flying saucer in the middle of my third eye, like laughing like a hysterical hyena, like with commentary, and it barfs out my mouth. So if you think something's funny, it's definitely not from me. It's from beyond. It's definitely from beyond because I'm over it. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to die laughing. I'm what you would call a sacred clown. Like the natives actually called me a clown spirit back in the day because I morph. Like I channel to the point of they possess me, take my body over, and you know, I'm a feral. I definitely have some stories to tell. But anyway, let me keep on reading. I gotta read. I gotta keep on reading. I love this so much. Anyway, okay. For your sakes, this must not come from political or religious leaders. That's why I'm saying I'm the new Pat Robinson. Just for fun. Let's just fuck around and say fun. You pick one. You want to be like Joel Osteen? Let's just say it. I'm the new this. And then we all go out as missionaries with our bullshit Gen X attitudes, Saturday morning cartoon superhero ethics, and just mop shit up in the planet. Let's just do it. I'm ready. It says here, it must flow evenly throughout all common cultures on Earth. I think we can do this collectively, like as a Gen X, as a generation. I think we can do this. The message is not that we are here, but that each of you can control where you're going. So do you want to go to the happy place? Because I want to go to the happy place. So I need to be nice to go to the happy place. That's what they're saying, basically. So let's all be nice to each other. If we want to go to a happy place and experience a happy place, let's get in the right mindset. Now it says, be like us or different as you choose, but you choose not your political leaders who believe that only a tiny percent of elite can rule wisely over their masses, or those who spread fear of death in order to enrich their lives through religion. Knowledge is only good when spread like seeds from which wisdom might grow, and faith has purpose only when it's not created of fear. With faith in the wisdom of truth and in each other, your world will come to ours soon enough. Our hope is to be able to receive you as friends and guests when you arrive. I am so there, like every day, a day. That is our message. You must do the work for yourselves. If you do, you will keep all the rewards. And I am testimony. I am testimony for working with source consciousness, meditating, and channeling. Now, they come across a lot of channelers that are like, don't do this, don't listen to that person. It's what does your heart tell you about this channeler? Do you think Bashar is really out to destroy the planet, or do you think Bashar is out to cause world peace? Because I think he's a peaceful, sentient being. Some people actually are complaining about Bashar. People are complaining about Dolores Cannon, and they're causing separation in the spiritual community, and it's fear-based. What are you scared of? If you're scared of it, ask yourself, why are you scared of it? Because you should never be scared of anything, not even our military, after I just showed you how ignorant they are. So I'm going to start my stream on WTF Sky on YouTube. I'm going to restream this. It's supposed to start at 10, but I'm a little late. So I'm going to go on this. I'm going to rebroadcast this with the actual text PDF. You'll see me on it's just WTF Sky on YouTube. Bye, guys.